My name is Marife Boix-Garcia and I want to welcome you on behalf of Frankfurter Buchmesse. Children's Books on Tour is a collection of approximately 50 novelties of children's and young adult literature from about 15 German language publishers. The goal of this presentation is to showcase the latest releases, to encounter international audiences, and to create new business opportunities. We usually exhibit this collection of books as part of our participation in international book fairs around the world. This time, we invite you to watch and listen to the following video, hoping that it will be of interest to you. We thank the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs for their support and send you our warmest regards from Frankfurt.
Welcome to the Frankfurt Book Fair. My name is Gabriella Berardone. I have here with me Mariela Nagle. We are sitting in Berlin in the Mundo Azul bookstore, and we're here to present you the Children's Books on Tour. This video will be about the books from ages 10 to 15. And Mariela, you have the first one.
Thank you and hello. I'm going to present the first book of this collection, of this video. It's called Pandecrasca Pampernela. It's a book by Belz & Gelberg Publishing. It's written by Zoran Trenka. He's an award-winning author in Germany. He's written many books and children's books and also poetry and plays. So this particular book, Pandecrasca Pampernela, is about a very exotic princess, as you hear, like with her name. Pandecrasca is a very smart girl. She's a real princess, and she gets everything she wants to. And she also gets everything she wants from people. Like she can convince everyone to do what she wants. She's been traveling since she's 2 with a chronicler. And actually the chronicler is the narrator. We hear his voice all the time telling all her anecdotes. It's very funny, very humorous. So she's all determined and she knows what she wants to do. But there's one thing she's afraid of, that she would never get a friend. So this is a story suitable for kids that like not the cliche princesses, like boys and girls, and it's like a kind of a new take on an old concept of what a princess should be. It's for boys and girls, like from 10 onwards.
Well, I also have a bit of a fantastic novel here. This is Katrin Tordasi's debut novel. This is by Sauerländer, and it's called Blackberry Fox, The Secret at World's End. What a debut. This is a very rich, fantasyful novel, the kind of, magical world behind the door type thing. Open the portal, walk through, and this is what happens. A boy and a girl walk through this door and enter the land of the fairies. And the author here brings in some Welsh mythology. She sheds a modern light on Titania, the queen of the fairies, sort of like a new modern interpretation of it. Nobody is fully evil or totally good either. It's full of adventure, friendship, betrayal, rescue missions. This will appeal to kids 10 and up, but especially kids who like to read Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia. Very good book.
Right, and I have another book of adventures, this time a detective story, kind of. It's called Winston's Most Secret Cases. So it's a book by Löwe Publishing, and the whole story takes place in Hamburg. So we have the adventures of a cat who's very lazy. He's called Winston. I didn't say that this is a series of books by Winston's Cases. So in this particular one, Winston is a very lazy cat and very spoiled, and he loves being cooked. And he just waits for his food all the time. But one day, Grandma Babushka, who spoils him and cooks him meals at home and is always like looking after him, she lands in hospital after a robbery. So who's going to cook for him now? But not only that, a very valuable object in the house is gone with the robbery. So Winston has to go and find what happened. It's got many things that boys and girls like a big city, cats and wild cats as well, and you have a pirate ship, and it's also good for kids that do not read too much, for 10 onwards.
Well, speaking of kids who don't read that much, we have this book from Dressler, and this is called Ralph Tube, From Nerd to Legend. And this is very much a book of our times because it's a book about the internet and specifically about YouTube. This kid who considers himself a nerd, called Ralph, decides to open his own YouTube channel, and he thinks that by posting pictures and videos of himself, he'll become extremely rich and famous. Of course, he then realizes it's not as easy as it seems. He has internet problems, he has content problems, he can't find the right person to film him. And so the adventures go on of someone who is trying to post a perfect life on YouTube. It's got comic-style illustrations, and so it will be scattered around the book, and so it'll make the reading a little easier for kids who are not such avid readers.
Mm-hmm. Well, more or less like what we had with Winston. And I have a book of mystery and magic here by Jungbrunnen Publisher. This is a book by Albert Wendt. And we have a story with mystery and magic, as I said before. This is a story of 3 women scientists who live in a ground and an old building, an abandoned building. By the way, the story is called Tok Tok in the Owl's Grounds. So the abandoned building is called the Owl's Ground. And these 3 women, they pretend to be homeless, but they're not. So they don't want to be discovered because they run experiments there. But what happens? Well, kids come and disturb them, but they need to frighten them. So they hire a writer and they just tell him to do something so that the kids run away. So it's full of experiments and magic, but also adventures and very good humor. And it's also for kids like from 10 onwards.
Well, I have another book here, speaking of adventure. This book is by Ravensburger, and it's the first book of a planned series called The Boarding School for Evil Animals. And this specific book is called The Test. Now, this is a very interesting story. It is about a group of secret islands, each housing a secret boarding school. There's a boarding school for artists, there is a spy school, there is a medicine school, and in this case, a hunter school. Now, what's interesting is that these schools recruit the best of the best animals and humans to train there. So you could have scorpions next to leopards, next to bears, next to boys and girls. It's kind of a survival of the fittest kind of story, full of obviously typical adventures and betrayal and rescue, but really very with a lovely angle of the animal world and the human world collaborating in a school.
Okay.
Oh, and this book won the Zurich Children's Prize for 2020.
Right. Good. And I'm gonna present a book for teenagers here, our last book of this video. It's called The Summer of Blue Desires. It's written by Antje Baberde. It's by Arena Publishing. And, well, this is a book for teenagers, but also for an all age group. So we'll go from Berlin to northern Scotland in this book. It's a love story. It's great for readers that like Northern Europe, the Highlands in Scotland. This is the story of Carling. Carling needs to leave Berlin. Her mother's ill, she's depressed, she has to go to the clinic, and she needs to run away a little bit from this situation. So she decides to go and visit her grandmother who lives in Scotland, northern Scotland. So she hadn't seen her grandmother for 10 years now. Once she arrives there, she feels she's free for the first time in her life. She just finished school, she's full of energy. She loves the landscape and the people in Scotland. And she meets many different kinds of people, but she meets one person, Aaron, who is actually an ill-mannered boy who is very indifferent to her, doesn't treat her well, but still she feels safe with his company. So what happens next is a story full of emotions, and Carling finally, she's determined to fight for what she loves. It's a love story, but it's also a beautiful description of these lovely landscapes in northern Scotland, good for, as I said, all ages.
Well, this concludes our segment for children's books on tour from ages 10 to 15. If you need any other information, please refer to our website, german-stories.de. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.